This is exactly what you get for contracts. When the main people involved in signing the contracts and negotiating them and creating them and then approving them on your behalf have never signed contracts that they've had to back up with their own money by running their own business. It is easy to settle on something when it's other people's money. But those of us that have had to sweat it out and pay the bad side of a contract because we made a mistake and it was our own money, we in government would stand up and go, this doesn't make sense. Now, we actually have a scenario, because this one's been well addressed, the two wrongs don't make a right with the teachers union right now, where they gave too big a raise in the contract promise. But once again now, Ed Stelmach, in trying to fix it, is going to break a contract. And neither of those are acceptable. And so we need to put the sign up saying we're open for business again. But bottom line, on these contracts, there cannot be the sweet opt-out at the end. It cannot be something that sets someone up for life. And you do that by having someone involved that's paid for these things with their own money because they look at money differently. Thank you.
Starting with Jeff. What will you do to ensure a strong party organization for the next election?
Work hard. I have every intention of touring the province full-time for the next 2.5 to 3 years, setting up CAs and making sure we have 83 good elected candidates, candidates who are elected within their ridings. That would be about that. I like to get to the point. I don't need my 2 minutes to fill up the room with flowery words. I like to get to the point and get it over with.
Okay. I have a breadth of experience as a volunteer, non-paid position in well over 15 campaigns. I would be touring with, hopefully, my fellow competitors across the province to build in those 83, soon to be 50-some constituencies. And we need people that understand the political side of building. Because as much as I sell my business side to you, if we don't have leadership that understands what it takes to get people to volunteer their time, to put themselves out there for a party that's maybe still viewed as a little bit new, we need someone that can make that sale and has done it for the Reform Party, that has been active in this, and I've done that. So I would be touring the province, we would be actively seeking people out, and a lot of them would be from my Reform connections and from my PC connections, because guess what? There's still a small amount of Conservatives left in the PC party, and we need to annex them. Thank you.
Well, this leadership race has given us a head start. I understand from Jade Morgan, our executive director, that she's planning on ordering 10,000 ballots for people to be able to vote on our October 17th date. What that means is we're going to have 100 to 200 people in each and every riding in this province. I think that forms a solid core for us to be able to set a target to establish all of our constituency associations by the end of this year, at the latest by early next year. And then the process begins of finding good local candidates in each and every one of those ridings to be able to be prepared for us to challenge this election in 2011. These guys can hold an election anytime between 2011 and 2013. They caught us flat-footed last time. I don't think they'll be able to do it again this time. The second thing I'd say is I've got a home in Calgary, and when I was doing my lobbying work, I got a condo up in Edmonton. So I'm accustomed to the kind of travel that we're going to need to do to be able to build this party. I was traveling back and forth between Calgary and Edmonton every week, spending at least a couple to 3 days a week up there. I think that's exactly the same kind of travel that a new leader is going to have to do. My family's used to that. They're used to seeing me on weekends and also in the latter part of the week, and they're very supportive of that. I'm grateful for it. I also think that the media is going to be vital. I mean, we have had so much media coverage in this race. We've had McLean's take an interest in us. All of us have been on Rutherford. We've been on Charles Adler. We've had columns in the Calgary Herald newspaper. The National Post, I think, wrote 3 columns making reference to our by-election win in their paper today. So there is going to be a ton of media interest in our party, and I think that that is going to be one way that we'll be able to spread the message. And then the final thing I'd say is new media. You just wouldn't believe how crazy the blogs are talking about our race. When I go to some of the town halls, they say, well, where are all the young people? And I say, well, all the young people are on the internet. They're tweeting, and they're on Facebook, and they're blogging, and they're following our race that way. I know that we're going to be able to activate people from all demographics, north and south, and also urban and rural as well.
How would you interact with the federal government regarding issues such as transfer payments, gun control, and human rights commissions?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I thought it was just a question.
Oh,
No, it is mine. Right.
so how would you interact with the federal government regarding issues such as transfer payments, gun control, and human rights legislations?
Okay. Well, in my speech, I told you where I stand on the Human Rights Commission. It was, I seconded the motion at our AGM, and it was part of my campaign team that put together the motion. It is now policy for this party that we would minimally remove Section 3 from the Human Rights Commission in Alberta. And why I brought up the federal example in my speech is because we would have to deal with it federally, because there is a federal Human Rights Commission too. And we need a government in Alberta that stands up firmly for our rights and doesn't let the Liberals keep pushing us around on things that they shouldn't. And healthcare reform would be another one on that. On gun registration, I had my education in that from a great man named Dale Blue, who was on the Crowfoot Reform constituency with me. He hasn't been with us for the last 4 years, but he educated me on the fact that gun rights aren't just about guns, it's property rights. And if we look at the history of property rights throughout civilizations, when a government starts going after property rights, you are at the beginning of the end of that civilization. So we must stand up for these things. And in some cases, that means everything that constitutionally falls under the province's ability, we take in. And that's why I would have an Alberta pension plan and things like that, because we need to make the decisions here. But even on things that constitutionally are not ours, just like Dave Bronconia, even though I don't really like him, stands up and demands... He demands things provincially. We provincially can demand things federally.